Hi and hello and welcome to episode 48 of Going Over. I, of course, am Fred Slow alongside me, Saleh Taylor. First time in 2 weeks. Got bumped due to the college football last week, but we figured it out at the station. Thank you for joining us bright and early. Terrestrially at 7 a.m. time of recording. We're recording at 9 p.m. on September the 11th. That's not lost on us. We're going to talk a little bit about pro wrestling, the world after 9/11. We're going to talk a lot about milestones in the world of pro wrestling this week. Also, we're going to talk about Saleh Taylor getting more work in than he's ever got in his entire professional wrestling life. Saleh, welcome, brother. How are you?
I'm moving. I'm grooving. I'm sore, but I'm grateful. How are you?
You are sore. You're in a complete, and we talk about this all the time. I'm in the ownership group of Duke City Championship Wrestling. If you support Duke City Championship Wrestling, you are monetarily supporting me. And this show, at that point, is no longer called Going Over. It's called Daddy and the Boys, and you are putting money into Daddy's pockets if you support this thing. And also, if you do, thank you. We see you. We're appreciative of you. We are doing things that we had as ideas on paper at one point. We are so very fortunate. We are so very lucky. 2 weeks ago, we had locked in. That was over at the Rio Rancho Event Center. It was tremendous. We'll talk about that at length. Been at the state fair all week. At the time of terrestrial airing, it will be day 10 of 11. Are you kidding me? 11 days of pro wrestling at the state fair. Saleh Taylor has been a star in many of them. My dude, you have been in front of the masses. Talk about the state fair. Talk about the crowd. Talk about pro wrestling in front of the state of New Mexico for hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of fans.
Well, when I was there, it was the dozens and the dozens and the dozens. It's been really, really amazing. It's really cool. For the first time ever for the New Mexico State Fair, we are having professional wrestling offered.
Isn't that wild?
That is amazing. And how fortunate, well said, that we are the ones that are providing such a performance, such a product. And during the week, Monday through Thursday, it's been two shows a week.
3 o'clock and 6 o'clock. Yeah.
3 o'clock, 6 o'clock.
Yep.
But Friday to Sunday, noon, 3, 6. And man, we're getting our reps in. And
it's a different crowd.
Stories.
Yeah,
it's
a whole thing.
Crowd every show.
I have not made my way out to the state fair yet. In a little inside pro wrestling. This has been a real exhibition of the boys. This has been a real exhibition of, not to name guys specifically, but the production team at Duke City Championship Wrestling. Our friend Kevin, who has just been
Kevin Hoover.
Oh my gosh! Like
the vice man.
Yeah,
keep it in the grip, man.
He is the epitome of pro wrestling. He is a guy who is in that thing, and he is doing that thing in such a tremendous way and just impressing so very many. Hobo Hank's been out there. Thunder's been out there. Two Scoops Tommy Test has been out there. Turbo Tony has been out there. Yourself has been out there. Johnny Manga has been out there. We got some debuts this weekend. Sky High opened the thing up. We might as well shut it down after they were here. There's been so much talent to come through the state fair. And like you mentioned, Saleh, the first time in the history of the New Mexico State Fair. Are you kidding me?
That is still a beautiful thought to think about.
It was
the best way to put that, man.
And you were not late to the game by any means, but you were a part of the program a part of the product after we started the conversations for the product. So when we sat down with the ownership group of Duke City Championship Wrestling, by the way, September the 26th, September rain, back at where? Our home, the historic El Rey Theater, you already know. Whenever we sat down and we started writing off bucket list ideas, right? We had these bucket list ideas. It's like, we're going to do monthly TV. Check. Thank you, ProView. Okay, we need a venue. We got the historic El Rey Theater. It's 120 years old. This thing's beautiful. We tell stories. Okay, cool. Let's get some real talent. Baba Thunder comes in. Sin Bodie comes in. Manny Lemons comes in. Jacob Fatu comes in. Journey Fatu comes in. Brian Idol comes in. Natalia Markova comes in. Lilith Grimm comes in. We could go. We could name them all. And it's, there's a lot of homegrown product here, but there's a lot of guys that travel a long way to be a part of this thing. We said, what else do we want to do? Let's go south. Let's go Las Cruces. We did that. We went to the Amador Live. We did Cinco de Mayo. It was a heck of a show. Cool. Let's do some community shows. We went to Explore. We did Teen Night. That thing was tremendous. Had so much fun. Cool. Hey, let's do this. Let's go out east. Let's go to Clovis. Let's do a Border Wars. Let's fight Texas. We did that. That thing was awesome. Hey, I got an idea. We haven't done it yet. We're doing it next week. Let's go up to Santa Fe, go to the National Folk Art Museum, tell a story in front of already pre-registered. I saw it today, 600 people for their big art festival up there. Let's do pro wrestling. Hey, let's go mess with the Rio Rancho Event Center. That's right. Let's go mess with the premier indoor. 6,000 at the full, 3,000 for our event. Pro wrestling. Let's do it. We put 800 people in there. Let's go. And then the state fair on the list. Brother, it is a thing where Duke City Championship Wrestling is identified and has knocked down targets. How incredible. Also, we got beat up by phase one. They're going to Las Vegas, New Mexico. But that's okay. We're going to make that one up.
We celebrate.
We celebrate Test of Strength, which is going on in Las Vegas, Mexico. Those guys are too good as well. But that's what we're part of that story, right? Duke City Championship Wrestling is part of the renaissance of pro wrestling here in New Mexico right now, including phase one, including there was midget wrestling over at Revel last week. I know none of our traditional fans went, but it was there. You know, it's all the time now. It's the spot, brother. Saleh, you are part of a movement, my man.
And I am honored and grateful for such. Who'd have thunk last year around this time, man, that I'd be back in the ring. You know, I was actually just like working my way back in doing commentary stuff, but or I was doing backstage, you know, segments up and out. But man, I'm grateful. I'm grateful to and for y'all. It's been amazing. It's been run. You know, it's just been fun.
Yeah. Well, how fun has the storytelling been at the state fair? Walk me through that. So I haven't been out there yet. Obviously, the boys are out there handling it. It's a world of impressed. I am. Talk to me about it. You're going hour longs. So you're going, there's probably 2 matches per. So you're going like 20 minutes, I guess. So that's a
15,
lot of
20, 15,
yeah,
20.
that's a lot of work out there. Are new fans finding you? Are you finding new fans? Are you telling stories? Are you getting reaction? Like give me what single dose pro wrestling looks like at a state fair.
It is a beautiful glimpse into the beautiful world of professional wrestling. You have, you know, when Sky High was here, you got high flyers, and then you got myself, ground and pound kind of dudes, and then you have technical guys with Turbo Tommy. You know, you got traditional, just like great character driven guys. You get like Hobo Hank, who are just killing it, and it has a reputation that goes beyond. You have brand new title that's being seen, man. It's a beautiful thing. You got young guys, Johnny Manga, and you got the debut with DCCW, Ricky Rebel, the ravishing Ricky Rebel coming out doing this thing. So we're treating this as like a house show. Basically, on a house show, it's kind of like anything goes, but more importantly, it's kind of like a great way for wrestlers to workshop things. You're still providing stories for these matches, and you're still giving a chance for everyone to be seen. But more importantly, you're given a chance to be in front of a crowd and see what's working and what's not. And believe me, man, the crowd is honest, and they'll let you know what's not. So it's been beautiful, man.
So you go out there in little inside pro wrestling. Are you wrestling bad guy, or are you heel the whole time?
Oh yeah, I've been laying in more on heel. For some of the other guys, you know, they're
they can
playing
play.
into yeah. But like I'm established heel, so I've been leaning in on it more.
So are you getting you suck in the storyline aspect? Or are you getting you suck as a pro wrestler? Like what is coming your way from the crowd?
Oddly enough, I've been getting pops.
Yeah.
I'm getting some boos, but then I do something like, oh, okay. Well, what makes this even better is there's a lot of my friends and family that hasn't been able to see me because they got lives or they're also gigging themselves. But a lot of my people are gigging at the fair. So when I'm telling them, hey, by the way, I'm playing as well, or I'm about to wrestle as well. So like, all right, they're playing their gig, and then a few of them have left the stage to watch my match, and then they'll go back to the stage and do the thing.
Well, and
so I'm grateful for my people, man. I'm grateful for my people.
You're listening to us right here on Going Over. Thank you for tuning in the 7 o'clock hour on the Sports Animal. It's cool to wake up with you. You know, I did this for a lot of years here in Albuquerque before I went to the afternoon drive on 2 Men On. But being part of this audience again, Saleh Taylor being introduced. Then we're talking about the state fair. It wraps up tomorrow at the time of this airing. Talking about the state fair, the feedback has been tremendous, brother. So the
It's
feedback,
extremely positive, man.
extremely.
So far, man. Yeah.
So the Expos come to us. They have a leadership in Dan Morning, who is as good of a state official as you will find. I cannot stress this to you. He runs the Expo and the fairgrounds and everything as good or better than I think you, I, or a combination of our skill sets or anyone else could do it. And he's come to us and he said, hey, you know, this is perhaps the best inclusion we've had in a decade. He said, hey, we're getting requests like vendors want to be near you. We're getting requests like people want to be a part of the energy that we're bringing, you know, just a handful of times a day. And I think, well, that is the most honest of compliments that I could personally receive. And then immediately I say, I'm not there. You know, it's the guys, it's the pro wrestlers, it's the boys, it's our terrible referees, it's our terrible ring announcers. It's with the face of Duke City Championship Wrestling is this cat Kevin Hoover, and we don't say his name a ton publicly because he's a really solid back of the house guy, and he I don't know what specific bone you need to make a spine work, but he is that bone, you know what I mean? And he's been out there and he's delivering message. And big thank you to R. Greenleaf for coming out and being a part of it and supporting. Also, I know the Boys and Girls Club is out there today as part of our spectacle. So how fun for they to be out there. That was incredible. But the feedback is this. The feedback is, oh, pro wrestling's here. Oh, and that to me is as big as anything's ever been. You know, that to me is a thank you, you know, from the state. So I have no doubt we'll be back again next year. And if the Balloon Fiesta has any sense, they'll ask us to come out to that too. You know,
we don't mind a 4 a.m. match. Yeah, man, that'd be great, dude. Yeah, I'm with it.
It's the morning glow, and Saleh Taylor hits the DDT. That's like,
give me one move, I'm out. Just let me catch up on my sleep, man.
Figure out a way to get him to do the For Sale logo and the drone show while you perform.
Honestly, that would be pretty dope.
You know, I broadcast live from the Balloon Fiesta. You should come out. It would be fun to have you on the show. So I broadcast live from the Balloon Fiesta, whatever that Friday is. You know, it starts on a Saturday and then it wraps around. Let me pull that up for you real quick. October the 11th, 2 Men On is live from the Balloon Fiesta. They do the night glow that night, so we're gonna be out there. I think it might even be Special Shapes glow. I'll have to double check, but it's a real fun destination one. And then how fortunate I've been the last several years to open the Balloon Fiesta over on our sister station KKOB and sit down with they and talk about what we're seeing and everything around it. And it's so fun because it's everyone driving in is tuned in. You know, it's like you're getting the most captured audience, and it's such a special spectacle. But here's a little breaking news for the friend of the show or the friend of Duke City Championship Wrestling. Myself and Hobo Hank, we got to go to Florida. We're going to NWA for the opening of the Balloon Fiesta. Yeah, so kind of an incredible thing is NWA has extended some invites to myself and Hobo Hank, and we're going to go out there and talk about the business that is pro wrestling. You know, if Hobo Hank plays his Duke City Championship Wrestling card right, maybe he gets a chance to beat up Brian Idol in front of his boss, Billy Corgan. I think that'd be a really nice thing. So if that happens, we'll definitely share that news with the world. But I'm missing the opening of the Balloon Fiesta for the first time in the 7 years that I've lived here.
That is quite a thing. Do you want me to take over for you? I think I'm back in town for that. I'll hold it down for you if you'd like. I'll sacrifice, you know, that for you.
There'd be something fun with having a Pinion coffee and watching pro wrestling. Like that would be the start.
It's a good day.
For the last time before we go to break, big thank you to the New Mexico State Fair. Cannot stress this to you enough. The 5th through the 15th, it is 11 straight days of pro wrestling. It's 3, 6, 9. It's 12, like 30. 15, 18. It's like 30 matches these guys are doing, dude. Like, just incredible. They're going out there. And then, like I said, we wrap up on the 15th. Immediately on the 21st, we're going to Santa Fe. That's right, the International Folk Art Museum, as we're a part of their celebration of Mexican culture. We got some fun luchadors coming in, so that's going to be a lot of fun. You're not on that show, Sally. You're not luchador. You're not the guy. Sorry for you.
And that's okay because, you know, that's okay.
That's the booking business. That's how this
It-
thing works.
I might be somewhere else, dealing with bigger things.
Oh,
We'll see
how
what's up,
bigger
man.
than Duke City? Ow, it hurts. It's bigger
Uh,
than Duke City Championship Wrestling. It hurts.
Solid got places to be anyhow, anyways.
Wow.
Though.
And then just 5 short days later, back at the historic El Rey Theater, September the 26th. That is September Rain. When we get back from the break, we continue down the world of pro wrestling talk, including Locked In, which was at the Rio Rancho Event Center. It's going over on 95.9 FM and AM 610, the sports animal. Welcome back to the program. Welcome back to Going Over. I, of course, am Fred Slow alongside me, Saleh Taylor. Saleh, welcome back.
Oh, it feels good to be back, baby.
Not
What's
so bad.
happening? What's good? A very good morning if you're listening to this live or terrestrially.
Yeah.
We're here, baby. We awake.
If you're
Totally.
driving over to the State Fair today, which we know you are, pro wrestling presented by Duke City Championship Wrestling. That's going to be noon, 3 and 6 p.m. That's both Saturday and Sunday. Come hang out with us as we perform for you. Also, my producer of 2 Men On, Isaiah Johnson, he's going to be the in-ring announcer and commentary, like crowd work. So get ready for Isaiah. He's been begging me for the longest. He's going to get out there Saturday and try to entertain. And I'm going to smarten all the boys up on making sure he has the hardest time of his life. Like, there's no doubt.
I'm really regretting not being there.
Yeah, he needs.
Actually,
just going to make it happen.
I'll be in music mode, actually, and I'm playing at the African American Pavilion right next to the ring.
Are you?
I have 3 shows there.
That's sweet. Who are you performing with?
From 11 to 12, I'll be performing with Nate Fox, the Soul Fox.
Yeah, good get. He asked you, or you asked him?
I've been sitting in with him for a minute.
Yep.
And I'll also be playing with Low Fat as well later in the day. So might be room in the schedule. Who knows, man? For Sale might have to come out.
There is so much talent around you,
dude. I am grateful for every single one of them. They inspire me to be better while I perspire. It's a beautiful thing, man.
Talking about inspirational, that was us at Locked In. That's a heavy transition.
Good form.
Let me forget it.
You swung for the fences on that one. I'm proud of you, bro.
Locked In was out at the Rio Rancho Event Center. That was about as much fun as we could have possibly had. That was August the 31st, so 2 weeks ago, roughly, from the time of this recording, but our first radio show. 8 matches. We had the cage match, the championship match. No reason to go through all of them because you can see that at watchdccw.com. It was incredible. Cannot stress that to you. Fun, well done, well attended, 750-ish through the turnstiles, just right under 800 people for the entire event. I think almost a universal consensus as people left that they were pro wrestling entertained, and that is incredible to me. The feedback I got, which I heard, this rang true for me, was how excited families were to bring their kids out. How excited families were.
There we go. Yeah.
Because the El Rey is great. The El Rey is great downtown. The El Rey is perfect for what we do regularly. But I didn't understand how much families wanted to bring their kids and they were not doing that at the El Rey. And it was packed out with kids. It was awesome. It went really well. Great reception for Manny Lemons. Great reception for Sky High. Great reception for Sim Bodie and Baba Thunder. If there was a cloud, which I don't think there was, but there was conversation about where was Mr. Happy? He's such a fan favorite. And I tell you what, Mr. Happy returns at the historic El Rey Theater. That's going to happen this September the 26th. Get ready to see him. He's debuting his brand new Route 66 title. So we're excited about that because he's currently sitting as the champ. Does he get dethroned? We'll find out. Saleh, you want him to beat you up?
Honestly, I took out the magician. I'm ready for a clown.
I love
Let's
it.
go.
I love everything about that. The talk about it though, because you have moved from the broadcaster role. You're still aging a little bit. You're still doing some stuff in back of the house, but you're now full-on performer. And we opened this thing up with a really fun 3-way. It was incredible triple threat match. The crowd was into it. And then you often expect, let me use different verbiage. Often, and I'm not saying you expect it, but often in the way a card is booked, there's a little lull right there in the second match. And it was not that. As you and Valak File came out and rocked the house in front of them. Talk to me, Saleh, about your approach to the night, your mindset as you moved to full-time performer in the ring, and the entourage that you brought with you, because you were the variety show at Locked In.
So First off, we got Ronan, man, that became the official
Talented.
first sellout. And very talented. He's coming up, yeah, and who knows when you'll properly see him, but you're feeling him. You're feeling his presence.
Yeah.
Ronan is someone you do not want to miss out on. Follow him, give him a follow, give him a. But also, as you know, I'm a musician. I have my own band, which is also called For Sale because
Yep.
I have that much imagination. Um,
Nice.
but I'm taking. I love the idea of taking my people with me from stage to stage. So yeah, you got Blood Diamond with me, Lady Cat Paldrell. You got Soulfire with me, Lady Summer Sun. You know they are also in the band. Like I said, I'm taking over I'm selling out. I'm sell out, baby, from stage to stage, and I'm taking my people with me. That's the plan, and that always has been the plan. There's plenty of room for anyone and everyone under the spotlight when you're with me. That's the way I see it. Now, when it came to what Valak and I had to deal with, first off, Valak has been a I've been holding on to that moment when he eliminated me.
Unceremoniously, with no regret.
Just, I was so focused on Mr. Happy, I forgot about Valak.
You're talking
But
about the battle royale for the Route 66 title, where
I
you
am
were
talking about that.
third
Yes.
to last eliminated, and some might say you entered late. Some might say you played a little coy, and some might say you were bested by your own arrogance. But yes, it was definitely Valak Vile's fault.
All will say that I was part of it and I was there, baby. But
That's good.
one of the coolest things about that, it was I when it was announced that I'm getting my chance with Valak, I was like, yes, I just want to fight him.
Yeah,
I don't care about a match. And what was great about it was Valak wanted to fight me too. It was
yeah.
like to let's throw ceremony out of the way. Let's throw all kinds of like any kind of like notion that like we're not wrestling tonight. We just want to fight.
Well,
And
and how very good of a fight it was, because there was debauchery in the beginning, which was you and your cartel. By the way, all this available at watchdccw.com, and then through that, because the Magic Man Valak Vile, he's a show. You know what I
yeah,
mean? He's the whole thing. He is vaudeville as you define entertainment, and he went out there and you robbed the people of that, and that was a travesty to the people. They were aware that you did that, and then as we move forward, right, it's not necessarily the back and forth venture that you so often see in these types of stories. It's a mob mentality. You and all your cronies were January 6ing him real hard, and the best he could do to prevail in this situation, and it ended up being just a story on top of a story, which I would assume is not concluded at this point. But I know the crowd left incredibly entertained. So from start to finish, this is my professional and personal opinion to you, as good of a job as anyone did on the card that night in telling a full length story and making sure that the people sitting in their seats were willing to stand from them, because it was just an incredible job, brother.
we appreciate that. We talk about this, like revealing a little bit behind the curtain. Like
Yeah,
if they're not reacting, you're not doing your job.
correct.
And we wanted to make sure that people remember by throwing away any kind of notion that this is going to be a wrestling match.
Mhm.
It was like I just want to fight you, and that's what ended
Well,
up happening.
yeah. Well, and it was such a good juxtaposition, because Phoenix and Manny Lemons opened up the show. It was
Woo.
also with Jada Money Monroe in that triple threat. Like, those three guys are incredibly good pro wrestlers. That's not a brawl. Those are guys going out there to pro wrestle. So anyway, it's multitudes of a story, and we told them early, and then we transitioned to, what I glossed over, which I didn't mean to. Big thank you to Albuquerque Sign Language Academy on coming out. How
Oh,
impressive was that to have those kids out there in the ring, signing the national anthem with Phoenix Gonzalez, who has become a fast friend of mine, and to go out there, perform in front of that big old crowd, and have those kids just to shine, that was real special too. So big thank you to the Albuquerque Sign Language Academy. They were big contributors to the night. And then, as we move through the card, and we won't hit every match because watch dccw.com. But to get to the end of the night, where the number one contender is set up, and that was the victor of Sin Bodhi and Baba Thunder, where the number one contender is set up, prepared and waiting for Hobo Hank and Thunder. as we constructed a steel cage provided by Valley Fence. Big thank you to Valley Fence.
Valley
You've been
Fence.
around a lot of pro wrestling. You ever seen a better cage than that?
I haven't seen a cage built like it was supposed to hurt as much as the Valley Fence. That was a real
Yeah,
fence. That was a real that was a real cage. So shout out to
correct.
Valley Fence for that because that was a real cage.
Yeah, they
And
were
man,
wild. They were incredible. They were inclusive as far as our input and our needs. Working with them and the Chavez family over there, there's a reason they are a legacy company here in Albuquerque. There's a reason that they have historically been a part of this community. And if you drive around town, because I just mentioned Valley Fence to you, you're going to see their placards on everything because it's commercial and residential and primarily schools, as well. Those people give, and they gave to us, and they helped us. And I'm currently sitting in an indebted position to them, and that is a feeling I like to have because I know they want to abuse that. So big thank you to Valley Fence on they being a part of that. And then Victorious at the end of the night to the best rendition of Mr. Bojangles that I've ever heard. It was Hobo Hank atop the cage, debauchery to follow with Thunder and his accomplice and your friend Matthew Robles and you in the ring. The night finishes out, Saleh, and I want your perspective with you in the ring, Hobo Hank victorious. Just, it had to be cool from where you were.
it was myself as a person.
Yeah.
There was a moment when I just I marked out, man.
Yeah.
And I was like, I can't believe I'm part of this. But then Solly Taylor, for sale, was
Yeah. The
pissed.
Small Nightmare? Talking about the Small Nightmare?
The nightmare, man. I was pissed. but man, we gotta be action.
There's this tremendous shot of you via the pro view, and I think we put it out on our hype video where you're in the corner and Hobo Hank has just bested Thunder, or he's about to. I don't remember the exact series of events, but you're in the corner and you were just like a shock. There's a travesty to you. Your eyes are, as big as Donald Trump's when he's looking at an eclipse, and and Hobo Hank comes over to you and he lets you know, and there's so much story behind that. There's so much story behind those eyes, and this is part of you being the performer, right? This is so much of the crowd because that shot's also up on the gigantotrons at the event center. Like the crowd is seeing you too, and they react alongside you. Like they know that justice is about to be served. They know that like the culmination of this story, which at that point is 10 months old, they know it's going to come to conclusion, and it couldn't have got there without you. And that is like the wildest aspect of this thing, right? Like Hobo Hank victorious at the Rio Rancho Event Center in front of our largest gate ever is a Saleh Taylor story as well. And that is wild to me.
That's pretty dope. Thank you for that. And this is like me being me, Saleh. It's here's a little tip for all my fellow actors out there, those aspiring to be such. If you ever want to put more into a moment, use your eyes. The eyes reveal or can conceal so much truth in any moment. And speaking as an actor, I'm utilizing whatever I can, and my eyes is a big piece of my big tools in my tool belt. And it was I know what you're talking about. That's after he won. That's after the 1, 2, 3.
Yeah.
And good God, man. Yeah, I felt that moment and I saw that and I was like, yo, yeah, yeah, quite a moment. I'm grateful to play the part, and there's something bigger going on. There's like several things bigger that's happening, and I'm grateful to have such a small moment in such a small piece in such a big moment. I'm grateful for that. Thank you.
Yeah. Love that. Love everything about it. And the thing about that emotion and that storytelling that you're talking about, primarily from your perspective, but everything we kind of gave before and after. For a fan that's been to every show, how tremendous that is. For a fan that was at the first show, how equally tremendous that is. And, you know, 2 Men On, right? 2 Men On, I host Monday through Friday right here on the Sports Animal, myself and Van Nunley, sports, pop culture, current events, news of the day. You know, we take the temperature on everything and we tell you if the water's safe. We host on Monday nights, Monday Night Football watch parties from Howie's Sports Page, the intersection of Montgomery and Tramway. If you have it, you should. It's a special oasis in this desert. So we host Monday Night Football, and I'm there hosting. I'm doing the 50-50 raffle and taking my shirt off, and you know how I am. I'm an
It's a
entertainer.
good day for you, man. Yeah.
So as we're there, there's in the corner there's two ladies, and I know their names because they told me, but this is radio and I didn't ask permission. So they do the little wave over thing. You know what I'm talking about? The
Yeah.
hey you, hey, come over here. I go, they go, what do you know? Yeah, hey man, what? They go,
Yeah.
hey, where do we know you from? I'm like, oh, I don't know. You know, a lot of TV, a lot of radio. You know, I Boys and Girls Club. I do a lot of fundraising with the club. You know, I'm going through all the. I'm like, I also own this pro wrestling, and she's like, these gals, they say pro wrestling. We just went to pro wrestling. I go, oh, okay. Like expecting to hear, you know, anything in the whole world. She's like, we're at the Rio Rancho Event Center. I go, that was us. That was, you know, I'm going through the thing with her, and she says, you came out and started the show. You're that cute boy that started the show. And I go, well, hold up.
Go on.
You're talking about the Albuquerque Sign Language Academy because those were the cute kids. Those were them. They did that. But that's the thing, right? They were it's our first time. We had never been. We didn't know what to expect. They were talking about setting in the bowl as opposed to the floor and talking about everything. I'm like, thank you. You know, thank you for taking the time. You know, thank you for in this little town of 1 million people. Thank you, for spreading positivity. You know, thank you for being a part of that message. And that's the thing. You know, if it's friend of Duke City Championship Wrestling Sarah, or if it's first timers Rachel out at this place, like that's awesome.
Yeah,
that's awesome that energy can be shared by others. And I'm just proud to have been a part of providing some of it. Shoot.
To backpack off of that, man. You like Rio Rancho Event Center. We underestimate how big of a crowd that they could bring in. Of our, in addition to our regulars, are those who be coming to the beautiful historic El Rey shows.
They got
You
the
also,
reach.
you know, we have had a lot of people who's never been able to make it to those shows in Albuquerque because Rio Rancho is a little bit far. But also, what's really great about that, you have the state fair where we've been at. It's been extending the reach even more. So you have a lot of people who's never known that professional wrestling is back in New Mexico.
Well, I'll give you one right here. A new friend of Duke City Championship Wrestling, Ray, says literally on this notification I just got, it's a post of Turbo Tony and Thunder, and they're with the state fair mascots, which are, of course, part of the rodeo stuff. Quote, really enjoyed today's matches. It was my kids and wife first time seeing a wrestling match, and they loved it. Great time. You know, it's little stuff like that. You know, maybe they never come to another show, you know, but maybe that kid has a lifelong infatuation and love with pro wrestling, and maybe it started at the New Mexico State Fair. You know, maybe we are a part of a bunch of kids' stories forever, the way that Little Texas was the first band I ever saw at the Illinois State Fair in 1992, because God bless Texas with his own hands. And that's a memory I will never forget, even though that band and song is garbage.
It feels right. But by the way, just a shout out to all the guys who've been working with Kevin Hoover, the Vice man himself, who's been leading this, who's been spearheading this. But you got, Hobo Hank, Thunder, Turbo Tony, Tommy Two Scoops, Mr. Happy, the Happy Man himself.
Yep.
Sky High, the Mondo, Robbie, the Johnny Manga, Ricky Rebel. Who am I missing anyone? Like that's been everyone that's been working the show. These guys have been in rotation every day.
Valak Vile been out there?
Valak will be at least
this weekend. Yeah. You're absolutely right. And as you're breaking it down and mention, and I know we did this earlier, there's a fellowship amongst these guys that you don't always find in entertainment. And I don't know how to communicate to the pro wrestling audience in the state of New Mexico, Albuquerque, just how lightning in a bottle this whole thing is. Just how lightning in a bottle the audience is, the fan base,
Yeah.
the growing fan base, the performers in the ring.
Not to mention you got Fernando, who's been announcing,
Tremendous. Yeah.
and then Gabe Gambino, who stepped in.
Mhm.
You know,
Aaron
so like
Burnett.
Aaron Burnett,
Like,
yeah,
Aaron Buck Burnett, famously of a different radio station here in town for a lot of years in the ownership group. There's a ton of dudes doing dude things, and it has been incredible, and I am proud. And I know we don't often dive so much into the personal opinion on this program. It's more of an introductory of everything else we have going on, but it is a special one. And specifically, if you are at all a fan of mine, and I know that's a weird out loud sentence, but if you enjoy Two Men On, or if you enjoy pro wrestling, or if you enjoy any of the what has now got to be like a very fun number of monies that we've raised to help different people in this community.
yeah.
Thank you. Thank you for giving me a minute to be able to talk about this stuff. Cause this is my thing. I don't journal, that I don't have that outlet. I have this is where we come together and celebrate with each other and our friends. And it's awesome. It is incredibly awesome. And, like with all ascensions, there becomes the turbulence that's alongside of it. And, there's a handful of people. If you would have said, hey, did you know when the list we started the show with, I know we got to go break. I'm so sorry, Sully.
Take your time.
The list we started the show with, if you would have said, hey, they're not going to make it 18 months. They're not going to make it a year. They're not going to, pro wrestling doesn't have that type of fandom. It can't do this thing here in town. Hobo Hank has made a poor decision with these two radio guys. Like, what does he know what they're doing? I'm going to say this, and I'm going to say it as loud and as clearly as possible. I'm sorry you're still not convinced. I'm sorry you haven't given it the opportunity it's deserved. And I'm so excited for they to come around on it. I'm so excited. The New Mexico State Athletic Commission, which at times has been a rival, has been a support. The New Mexico State Fair, which is at times seemed like a destination and unobtainable, is currently sitting as our home. It has been as fun of a journey as it is these destinations, and just so very proud I am of those in support, and so very proud I am of the individuals that possess the Constitution to understand that there's a bigger picture here, and it's not just Duke City Championship Wrestling. It's Phase 1 Pro Wrestling, and it's any GCW came to town, and it's the multiple schools around town that are doing their best to train new performers, and it is a proud culture right now that I don't think has existed to this extent in New Mexico since Mike London, and this is awesome.
Good time.
Let's go to break. We'll come back. When we do, pro wrestling, if you recall, Sully, in 2001 was the first live event, specifically of significant capacity after 9/11.
That's right.
And we'll talk about the historical significance of that and where you and I were on that day, that recording at 9/11, airing on Saturday, what would that be, the 14th? Friday the 13th this month? That's crazy.
That's crazy, dude.
But we'll talk about where we were, the impact on our lives, and everything that surrounded that just horrid day. It's going over on 95.9 FM and AM 610, the Sports Animal. Welcome back to the program. Welcome back to Going Over. You're Sally Taylor. I'm Fred Slow. We're wrapping up the 7 o'clock hour here on the Sports Animal. Thank you for joining us. Immediately after us, Fill in the Holes, Van Nunley, Max Machado, Jay Choi. They're talking the world of golf. And then, well, you know what we got all day here on the Sports Animal. That is collegiate football. You can catch, I think it's USC. Oh, I didn't look at I should have looked at the book. I screwed up. There's fun collegiate football after us. I can tell you, after this, you're listening to college football. We promise. And if you're on your way to the State Fair, you can catch Duke City Championship Wrestling noon, 3, and 6 o'clock today. Thank you for that. And also, if you enjoy it so much, you can stick around till Sunday. We'll do it again, noon, 3, and 6. All right, Sally, we were talking a little bit before the break about 9/11. We were talking a little bit before the break about, obviously, the historical significance as a whole. I don't think we need to explain, although I guess technically 23 years, there's a whole generation of kids that just learned about it in a book.
Dude, that blows my mind, man.
Yeah. But I was saying it on Two Men On, where I can tell you historically what happened. I can tell you about the two towers. I can tell you about the Pentagon. I can tell you about Pennsylvania. I can tell you maybe even the order of events and close to the timeline. The thing I don't know how to communicate is the emotion. I don't know how to explain to individual today that was not old enough or was not alive at the time what the word somber means as I define it. And that day was as somber of a day that I have ever experienced.
The ripple effect from that day is still felt. It's still affecting others now. I remember I was in Hawaii at the time,
Yeah.
and I remember waking up, getting ready to go to school. My mom crying in
So this is
the
4 a.m. Hawaii. No, this is 2
seven.
a.m. Hawaii whenever it happens in New York. Is that right? Did I do that math right?
We were 6 hours behind, or no, 5 hours behind New York.
Okay. So yeah, okay. So I'm pretty close. 2 a.m.
But I guess it didn't hit the
4.
news,
Math's hard.
or that was like 5.
Yeah.
It was like 5 in the morning for us. I'm getting up, getting ready to go to school, and like my mom's just in the living room crying and just shocked. And it was crazy because the school that I went to at that time is like a melting pot for several military branches to send their kids if they didn't want their kids to go to something on base, and they wanted them to mingle with the locals, I guess.
Yeah.
So this school had locals. This school had kids from the Air Force and kids from,
Oh, wow.
and like it was a wild, weird, very unique school in the on the island. And so we would walk to school, and I remember feeling this cloud. That's the best way to describe it. There was a cloud over it, and like my teachers are crying.
Yeah.
My PE teacher, or my physical education by that time, was he was just talking about like how pay attention to what's going on and take note. Things are going to get tough, and I remember him talking about like things will get weird.
What
And
island were you on?
Oahu,
Okay. So it's interesting. God, what a you and I tell you what. I've been to
worlds apart, man. Yeah,
Yeah, I've been to 2 places in my life where there is an energy, there is a emotion, there's a vibe. One is the World Trade Center site. I've been to the memoriam. It is moving, it is powerful, it is disruptive to
yes,
your current state. The other one is Pearl Harbor. When I went to Pearl Harbor, I was shut down, and I don't know why there is control in those 2 places, but those 2 well, I do know why,
yeah,
and it gets you. And that's so intense to me that you're saying you were there, because I didn't know that till this moment.
yeah.
And yeah, and those are the 2 places that I think physically on this earth that have affected me greater than any other.
The What was crazy, you're talking about Pearl Harbor, the day that will forever live in infamy.
Yeah,
And then you have 9/11, the day that's forever surrounded in somberness.
yeah,
Um,
never forget.
the All I remember is I see all of my military friends, my military's kids friends, and the looks on all of their faces, realizing that their parents are getting ready to go. All of their
Yeah,
parents are
Lord.
getting
Yeah,
are getting ready to work, and we as locals were like, "Oh snap! They shut the island down, bro."
yeah,
And that was crazy. So the prices was going crazy, but they shut the island down, and we're next to like all these tourist attraction spots. So we were a high alert where we had special security coming.
yeah,
But then all I remember, you want to talk about the 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 somber feel, the cloud. All I remember is seeing the looks on all my friends' faces, and they're like, "My parents are getting ready to go."
hmm
And we don't know if they're going to come back. We don't know where they're going. So much uncertainty. The days before 9/11, this country was completely different.
Oh, 100%. Like it
Yeah.
is. Yeah, there was life pre and there was life post, and that works for us because we lived it and we get it, and that works for a lot of our listener. But there, like as we mentioned, there are kids today that don't get it. I'd never flown on an airplane before 9/11. I was in high school,
Oh,
so I've only ever known this life. I was 16 when 9/11 happened, and I've told this story on Two Men On. I'll tell the quickest version here. I was late going to school. I'm listening to it on my Toyota pickup truck radio. And I only listened to college radio because I thought I was hip. And there were these college kids trying to communicate the story and how poorly they did it, because and you get it, in hindsight as an adult, you get it. And they're doing a terrible job of conveying the severity. I get out of the car thinking, oh, that's weird, like a little bipedal plane. I'm like, that's this sucks. That's a sucky thing. And then I get into the classroom and the other plane hits, and I believe, and I've gone back and looked at this, I believe it's the first time in my childhood that I recognized adults as fallible. It was the first time when I saw my leaders and my educators and I knew they didn't know what to do. And that was kind of a interesting turning point in my life personally, not really related to the tragedy of the day, but it was wild to know that people that presented themselves as, so staunch and so in a leadership role were people,
Yeah.
and there's a humanity to that. And, just I don't know, incredibly sad, incredibly draining. And then 2 days later, and I think you can grab a couple narratives off of this. You can go the greedy, selfish, Vince McMahon style approach, or you can go the healing, back to normal. The terror is not allowing us to exist in our lives. Friday or Thursday night SmackDown at the time, September the 13th. This was in Houston. Lillian Garcia, you've heard that national anthem a million times.
Man,
she gets out there, she belts it. It's the biggest thing. It's the largest gathering people post. It is it was pro wrestling giving chills to this country after 9/11, and it was vividly crazy.
That national anthem. That was also the first time I've seen the professional wrestlers as people, as well.
Yeah,
as
holding their hands over their hearts in front of the flag. I know exactly what you're talking about.
That humanized them. And then it also made sense. Like my mom, one of the uncles that I grew up with, his name is Joe Taylor, my dad's brother. He's the original Polynesian Prince. He is the Polynesian Prince, and he would talk to me about we are all we got. We share the road together. We share a room together, whatever. But when there's a loss from that they feel that even heavier. So seeing the entire locker room out together, that kind of started to click for me. That these are human. We are human. So that was a crazy thing. And Lillian Garcia doing one of the greatest renditions of the national anthem ever done.
Just had an incredible time, and as time is separated from us, I feel like it's not necessarily the conversation it should be. And I get it. It'll eventually, it'll eventually wean away, and that's how it is. Speaking of away, we've given away all of our time. This was a banger of one today, Saleh Taylor. We got to wrap it up. So Phil in the holes can jump in here. Final words, brother?
I appreciate our fans. I appreciate those who support and those who just watching. We appreciate y'all, and I appreciate y'all.
For Saleh Taylor, for myself, Fred Slow. Good job, everyone.